Well, good afternoon again, everyone. I'm Mike Gousha, and welcome to our series called On the Issues. This is when we sit down and talk on a regular basis with news and policymakers, people who are making a difference in our region and even beyond. And today we are joined by the new head of the Archdiocese of Milwaukee, Archbishop Jerome Listecki. Please give him a warm welcome to Marquette University Law School. Good to have you with us. Thank you. As many of you know, Archbishop Listecki was recently installed in Milwaukee, comes to us from La Crosse, and you've got a tough act to follow, I have to tell you. How does it feel to be the guy who is following Archbishop Dolan?
Pretty good. Because Archbishop Dolan, in his wake was a great deal of joy, happiness, person who was gregarious, outgoing. Made, I think, the office of Archbishop, which can be seen way, even I look at it and go way up there. But he made it accessible and approachable. And I've probably met between 5,000 or 6,000 people so far in the diocese going out to the various masses. And I did encounter 4 people who do not consider themselves personal friends of Archbishop. So there's already a great sense and a great feeling. You inherit that, and if I could be so bold, Tim's a good friend of mine. So there's already a mutual sense of us sharing a love for church and a love for people and that type of joy, and liking to laugh a lot. Oftentimes individuals would say that Archbishop Dolan will rarely suffer from, heart stress because he has at least one great belly laugh every day. He always around him, and it does. It kind of releases a little bit of the tension and the stress of the office.
So, would you say you talked about some similarities? Are there similarities in your personality, and are there similarities in your approach? Are you somewhat similar on a couple of different levels?
I would say we're similar in our love for the church, our love for people, our sense of humor. Although we're probably a little bit different in that sense of humor, but we both enjoy, a laugh and enjoy the fact of being engaging. So we're that, but we are different in the sense that he's an ecclesiastical historian. That was his training, and much more trained, obviously, in canon law and in the law of the church. So there's a little difference at the way we come at things. So that sense is different.
You're trained in canon law, but you're also trained in civil law.
I am.
Where did your interest in the law originate?
This being Marquette Law School, I know immediately that most individuals here would realize that the great dream to be Matlock or Perry Mason or some just leaves almost immediately when you have to deal with literally the fact of the law. And early on, when I was directed enough by professors at Loyola University, where I was attending, to help me understand the law as a language. So I never had a sense of going out and practicing so that I would be taking food out of the mouth of the lawyers who were there working. But I had a sense that if I could learn the law, I could learn the language, and that would make it a little easier in dealing with things such as contracts or estates, or I would be able to have that language facility to help, and also help the poor communities of which I might be associated with. So there was always that sense, never the fact that I would be hanging a shingle out and going out to practice, but that I would be able to be conversant with those professionals who would be seeking to help the church or help individuals.
Speaking of the law, I've seen a couple of news stories where you're referred to as the law and order bishop. And I don't know if you're comfortable with that.
I am the law and order bishop, yes, I agree. Well, actually, the term
Where does that come from?
You're the political bishop, and the political bishop got, and I was kind of shocked at that, that someone had termed me a political bishop. First of all, I think that one of the most engaging things that you can be involved with is politics. Like right from the very, very beginning of the the history of our civilization, the polis or the city, is considered the highest vocation, to be engaged in a dialogue for the common good. So in that sense, I'll accept being the political bishop if I'm engaged in trying to pursue what is the common good for everyone. I'll accept it. But I think by political, they mean stick your nose into something, try to bully your opinion around. And that's certainly not my intention. I received that because I wrote a letter in opposition to Nancy Pelosi, who tried to characterize the Catholic position on pro-life. And she mischaracterized it. It just was a misrepresentation of it. And so as a bishop who is also a teacher, I can't allow that to go unchallenged. And basically just wrote a letter, and I wasn't the only one. There were a number, I don't know, last count there might have been 70 or so bishops who either spoke out or wrote something saying, challenging that. And I just happened to be one right away and responded to it. And that's my job. My job is, if I hear the Catholic position characterized in a way that does not represent the truth of the Church, I can't remain silent. I have to respond to it. So that's if I don't do that, then suddenly what happens immediately is it's saying, well, that's an opinion, someone else has an opinion, and there really isn't any teaching behind that. And yet there is. And obviously in Speaker Pelosi's case it was. The other aspect is I wrote in response in support of then Bishop Darcy, who was the bishop of Fort Wayne, South Bend. Mm-hmm. And South Bend had Notre Dame, and Notre Dame had invited Barack Obama to give a talk and was conferring on him an honorary degree of laws. And the bishops had already written long before this. The bishops had already written a statement to Catholic institutions saying, look, don't give a platform to someone who holds opinions contrary to the Church, or at least not confer honorary degrees and titles upon it. Notre Dame did not even talk to the local bishop about their decision.
And that bothered you?
That bothered me. And then Cardinal George, who continues to be head of the U.S. Conference of Catholic Bishops, responded in his support for Darcy, and he got attacked on it. So not only myself, but a number of bishops wrote in support of Bishop Darcy and also Cardinal George, saying that what Notre Dame's responsibility should have been at least to bring the local bishop into dialogue about their decision, especially a decision that would so impact the relationship of the church of that area, the local church, and then nationally. So for those two things, I get termed being a political bishop. So.